Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today our topic of discussion is about cancer gene mapping. So here we'll discuss about gene mapping, especially of the cancer genes. For my video updates and queries, you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook because I feel together we can make a difference. So here we'll discuss the relevance of this topic in your exams. It will be covered in your mains paper 3, especially in the area of biotechnology. At objective level, you should know about what is mutation, what is gene mapping. Subjective level, about rising incidences of cancer in India and its prevention. So now see in what context today we are starting this, because there is a series of new papers in the journal. So in the scientific world, there is always a journal where all the researchers, they publish their these papers. Okay, so it has revealed the most comprehensive gene map of ever of the genes causing cancer. So I made the same lecture in the Hindi, and the questions there mostly was, is cancer only caused by genes? No, it is one of the reasons that yes, there is mutation changes in the genes, that is why, which results in cancer. So finding the location, identifying these location of these genes is very important. So this is the first crucial steps towards the drug development of the cancer, right? So here what they have seen, so if suppose there is a normal gene and there is a cancerous gene, what they have seen, this normal gene will show a departure. This cancerous gene will show a departure from this normal gene behavior. So this departure is because of various mutations which are triggered, and these mutations further, they trigger a cascade of genetic misbehaviors that actually lead to the formation of cancers in the body. So here the word mutation is used. So what is a mutation? Basically it is a sudden change. So you can just add, this is a sudden change that occurs in our DNA sequence. So in my video lecture where I discussed about Genome India project, okay, so there we discussed about DNA. It is a double helical structure. All our genetic information is stored in the DNA, that what will be the color of our hair, height, everything is decided by the DNA, right? So this is the double helical structure, and there are bases like A, T, C, G. A is for adenine, T is for thymine, C is for cytosine, G is for guanine, right? So A always bonds with T, C always bonds with G. So these are the base pairs on this DNA. So this is the DNA sequence. It could be like A, T, C, G, 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 whatever it could be. So this mutation, it occurs in this DNA sequence. Suppose this is a sequence for a normal gene, but then there is a sudden mutation, and instead of this A, here comes the G, or instead of this T, here comes the C, and rest of the sequence is same. So this is the change in the DNA sequence, sudden change, which is known as a mutation. It is either due to mistakes when the DNA is copied. So when the DNA is copying itself, right? So this mistake can take at that time, or there could be other reasons also as a result of environmental factors such as UV light. That is why it is always recommended not to have an overexposure of UV light or the X-rays, or in fact pollution also. So there could be structural variations, that means deletion, amplification, reorganization of these genomic segments that range in size from just a few bases to whole chromosomes. So these bases I talked about, adenine, thymine, cytosine and guanine, these are the structural units of genes, and over a lifetime our DNA can actually undergo changes or mutations in the sequence of bases. These bases are A, C, G, T, so which leads to any changes in the DNA sequence which could result in cancer. Now next question is, okay, before going to next question, let me tell you, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss any video updates on important lectures. Okay, coming to why we need to study cancer, because cancer is known to be a disease of uncontrolled growth. So what happens, we have cells in our body, they grow, but they grow to a particular limit. When there is uncontrolled growth, it is known as cancer. So this growth process, just like other physiological processes, it has genetic control, so that growth is self-limiting. So this is for the normal process, growth is self-limiting. But when there is mutation or more malfunctioning in one or more genes, this growth process can go out of hand, which is known as uncontrolled, leading to cancer. So not just cancer, there are actually many other diseases with a genetic link in varying degrees. So just a handful of driver mutations, they could explain the occurrence of large number of cancers. And here the researchers have said this research has actually raised hopes of cancer cure being nearer than ever. Now, talking about how big is the cancer burden for us. So, cancer is the second most frequent cause of death worldwide, killing more than 8 million people every year. So, incidence of cancer is expected to increase by more than 50% over the coming decades. So, like 1 in 10 Indians will develop cancer during their lifetime, and 1 in 15 Indians will die of cancer. This is according to World Cancer report by WHO. So for example, our northeastern states, then we have Haryana, Gujarat, UP, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Haryana. Okay, I already mentioned Haryana, Gujarat. Then we have Kerala, Karnataka, and Madhya Pradesh. So these states in our country account for 44% of cancer burden in India. So this is not, I'm not telling you, this is a published report in a journal called Lancet. Okay. Now, next question could be that you can ask, like, is there any link of genetics and cancer? So yes, the link of genetics and cancer is well established, although there could be other reasons also, but mostly we have seen there is a one or other kind of genetic mutation. So yes, it is one such association. For example, is in case of breast cancer with BRCA1 genes and BRCA2 genes. So you might have heard the famous case of Angelina Jolie. She's a beautiful actress from Hollywood who has discovered that she carried the former gene, choose to undergo preventive double mastectomy so that in later stages she does not develop breast cancer. So this is a personalized therapeutics where instead of traditional toxic medications, for example, cancer patients undergo chemotherapy. So in chemotherapy, what is done, this is a traditional practice, we kill the cells. So while killing the cancer cells, your normal cells are also killed. So there are usually more than one side effects of chemotherapy. So in case we get the genetics right, we can avoid chemotherapy and there could be genetics cure at genetic level. So that is why, and even the drugs that specifically target the delinquent genetic mutation are already being used. So such therapy, however, remains very expensive. Now, important thing is that what is the new that the oncologists around the world are excited about. So there is a term, oncologists. So study of cancer is known as oncology. And the people who study the researchers, they are known as oncologists. So it is a very major, this cancer project which is going on, it is a very major international collaboration, and it is called Pan-Cancer Analysis of Whole Genomes, PCAWG, in which all the researchers, they have published a series of papers after analyzing some whole cancer genomes. Genome is your whole set of genes and they are matching normal tissue. So they have compared around 38 tumor types. There is a normal genome and they have compared around 38 tumor types with the cancer genomes. So they have actually identified few genes here. They concluded that on an average, cancer genomes, the people who are having cancer genome, they contain 4 to 5 driver mutations. So there are around 4 to 5 mutations when combining coding and non-coding genomic elements. So this is the largest genome study ever of primary cancer. Then various kinds of cancers requires to be studied separately, because suppose there is brain cancer which is known as brain tumor, there could be pancreatic cancer, there could be breast cancer, there could be prostate cancer. So every cancer needs, although it needs to be studied separately, because cancers of different parts of the body often behave very differently from one another. But however, this discovery, this research is also very crucial for cancer. It is said that cancer is not just one disease but it is many. So you can treat all kinds of cancer as a separate disease also. So there is a breakthrough achievement of this study, because here the mutations are identified, like they said, 4 to 5 driver mutations by the team. They have catalogued it, they have made a list of it, they have done identification and cataloging, and this would help the other researchers also who are working on this. For example, it is a very crucial step that has science understanding of cancer, and its niece is how it is starting ahead of several leaps. So this catalog can be available both online and offline for various doctors and researchers who are working on the same thing. This study has actually discovered the causes of your previously unexplained cancers also. They pinpointed cancer causing events. They have zeroed in on mechanisms of development and opening in new vistas of personalized cancer treatment to strike at the root of the problem. And here the main thing is when it comes to drug development. So most important for us is drug development, when we will have proper medicines to treat cancer. However, gene mapping is obviously the first step here, what has been done. So here after gene mapping, so gene mapping is done here, cancer gene mapping. What is the next step? So next step is obviously your drug development, because the process of drug development will have to kick in with pharmaceutical companies. Now they have to take the charge of it, and this is a very rigorous process, because whenever you launch a medicine in the market, it has to go rigorous test mechanisms and then the clinical trials to prove its worth, safety and efficacy. So now that part is left, and this is the major part obviously, that could take anything from a few decades to few years to cover all the mutations which are already identified by the researchers. So this is what has been done in the cancer mapping, this project. So this is all about today's lecture. If you have any queries, you can contact me on social media, and the PDF of the lecture will be available on my Telegram channel, that is t.me Veronica_Om, or you can just search Veronica StudyIQ. Thank you so much.